Yo, the Sports Bag Bros are coming back. The podcast is
We
here
are
for you
here.
after another weekend. It's like we left last Thursday, going into the weekend. We said a few things may happen because that's typically what happens in sports. But damn, we can't leave you alone for a few minutes without everything going awry. I mean, we're looking forward to a big fight on Friday night. Well, the fight
I
happened
wasn't.
there.
No, I wasn't.
Well, I mean, looking forward to a big fight generally, just kind of talking about, hey, there's a fight coming up. And then we have other fights that aren't even in the boxing ring. Come on now. I mean, this is what we're talking about. This is what has happened this past weekend. And that's why we're going to get into it. And we're also going to get into a plethora of what's going on in the NFL with so many people changing teams. We may have completely different teams when the season starts up.
Right. So let's get to it. You mentioned the fight. I saw the first knockdown. Well, I don't know if it was the first knockdown, but I saw one right hand that looked like it barely landed, and he fell. I'm like, oh, this is fixed.
Bruce Seldon.
Yeah, and he got up. Now, the one that ended the fight, that looked like a legitimate right hand.
No, that was done.
But I was like, see, this is why I didn't watch this garbage. But I mean, props to Anthony Joshua. I don't know. I'm hearing now that Fury didn't train for Ngannou. Whatever. He still should not have gone the distance. He still should not have gotten dropped. I don't care. Like, his boxing level should be way above Ngannou's. Or even if he didn't train, he still should have been able to get him out of there and definitely not get caught and dropped.
You know what? I was talking to a friend about the same thing after this had happened with Anthony Joshua and Ngannou and as dominant as Joshua was. But I still go back to, I think Fury was so far out of shape. I think he should have won this fight with muscle memory alone. But what ended up happening is when you're a big guy as he was, and then you come in out of shape as he did, hell, there was times where he looked like he was out of shape when he was in perfect shape, fighting Deontay Wilder, getting weighing 270 pounds plus. And now he comes into a fight against a guy that he probably should handle in his sleep, but he didn't. And the problem is when this guy that doesn't have any skill has such an unorthodox way of fighting, it's hard to figure him out. You can still play around, but with big guys that weigh over 250 pounds apiece, you're going to get a hit. And if you get a hit the right way, you're going to fall down.
That's true.
And along with your size and your lack of conditioning, your reflexes just aren't the same as well. And I still think that the muscle memory should have been enough, but when fatigue sets in, I thought when he got knocked down, now he's going to take it serious. Bro, you can't put the pedal to the metal. Once you're fatigued, bro, it's very hard to try to get things back on track. Now, he better be lucky a more experienced fighter wasn't in there. If he was fighting Anthony Joshua or even someone like Derek Chisora, and he was in that shape and kind of dizzy like that and just completely out of it, he would have probably done something much more effective.
Okay, but all of these AJ fans need to pump the brakes because how does he look against real boxers? He hasn't looked good in a long time. So don't say he's ready for Fury, he's ready for Wilder, he's ready for Usyk. I would not put him in there with any of those guys and expect him to win.
You know what, though?
Pump the brakes.
I think his confidence is high, but I don't think it's from this fight. I just think it's from fight to fight. He's looked better and more comfortable. Now he looks like he should have looked in the beginning of his career when we thought he was a Superman and then realized he had conditioning issues and then he had kind of chinny issues and then kind of in no man's land for a little while. Now he seems like he's got his sea legs, he's got his confidence, got a new trainer that he really wants to hang on to. And seems like he's learning the right things now, but I don't think he really took that fight as seriously. I mean, he took it serious because at least if nothing else at all, Anthony Joshua does put in a full effort in his training camp, and it shows in the ring when he does. It's just that he still had conditioning issues. I thought it was because of all the muscle, and it probably was. But he's gotten better with that, and when trainers teach him how to do something, he actually goes through and tries to execute. But with this fight here, after the knockdown, you can see how matter of fact he just walked away. He knew this wasn't the big fight. For the people on the outside looking in, people who are his fans, they want to have something to grab onto, and those probably haters who want to say something, that was for them.
Well, that's what I'm saying to his fans, not to Anthony Joshua. I mean, he signed the fight. He took care of business. He shouldn't feel bad about it at all. But his fans, saying, "Oh, look at AJ's back. AJ's back." Come on, now you got to consider the opposition. But let's move on. There were more interesting.
He was in a no-win situation.
On the hardwood.
Yeah, you know what? We could go to the hardwood now because it's just been an absolute mess. Whether it's men's basketball or women's basketball, take your freaking pick. And we're talking college. We're not even talking in the NBA just yet, but we're talking college basketball. What do you want to go with first, the men or the women? North Carolina, Duke, or the women? The women seem to be the biggest story right now. Surprise, surprise. But
Yeah, nobody's talking about Duke, so let's talk about Duke. They've got Grayson Allen Jr. Apparently, North Carolina player was running down court. He was flat on his stomach on the ground, and he lifted his leg up and tripped him. I'm like,
wow.
just because you're on the ground, you don't want him to get down court. You get your ass up and play defense, fucker. You
That's the
talk
rule we
about
have now.
bullshit. I mean, if that happens on the at the corner park on the blacktop,
They're
man,
fighting.
it's a fight.
It's over. You can have a
So
brawl, no one stopping. The cops are
you would
stopping.
you would think he would have learned. People would know not to trip people after Grayson Allen had all his issues, and I'm surprised he still hasn't taken an ass whooping. He's acted better in the NBA. He
Bro,
still
in
had
the
a
NBA,
couple.
they'll get
He's
at him.
he still had a couple incidents here and there, but he hasn't really gotten his comeuppance.
Oh no, he hasn't gotten his comeuppance because he has been on his, for his standards, his best behavior. Grayson Allen is a solid role player in the NBA right now. There's too many games in a season in order to get back at him if he decided to do what he was doing at Duke. You know, these college kids, you know, most of them aren't really, they're basketball players. They probably want pro aspirations, but they just aren't good enough to get there. The NBA, this is the final plateau. If you do some idiot crap and trip somebody up, hurt them, tear their knee, that's a whole livelihood out the window. And there's going to be some serious repercussions. And we saw how those things have happened in the past where, you know, guys don't take Jokic when he, going against Miami. He wasn't playing no games either. You know, he wasn't going to take a cheap shot without retaliating as well. But hey, and it worked for him. He still got 2 MVPs to show for it.
Right.
But when it comes to Duke, well, I don't know. I mean, they lose the game. It's not even the ACC tournament. They lose the outright seasonal ACC title to North Carolina, their biggest rival, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, apparently they don't like it. It's in Cameron. They shouldn't like it, but they shouldn't be throwing things. These are supposed to be the kids who look down on even North Carolina because they're supposedly so up there. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be the sedity types that are better than everybody else socially, in their opinion. And so they're not supposed to throw cups and do all the nastiness that comes along with other people.
Water
but that's
bottles.
what they did when they lost.
Yeah, water bottles. I mean, a full water bottle. I mean, if you throw it from 40 feet away and it hits somebody, that could be dangerous.
It can. Seriously.
And it's disappointing. You talk about the college kids, and you mentioned it. You know, they seem to view themselves as being above the others in the conference. You need a higher GPA. You need this. You know, everything. It's harder to get into Duke than other schools. And you're the school that acts without class. You're the sore losers.
Yep.
That does not look. That's not a good look for you. For the Cameron crazies. I mean, showing emotion and chanting and doing all that, that's all well and good and fun. Sometimes it's comical. You laugh at it. But throwing things at players, that's crossing the line. Man.
That's crossing the line. You're supposed to be the backbone of that team because you are the Cameron crazies. That's the reason why that extra oomph typically is supposed to help Duke win a championship or even win a game, especially against North Carolina. I mean, isn't this the same way that Coach K ended his career, losing to North Carolina?
Yeah.
They just can't shake it. His first game losing to North Carolina when he first started at Duke. His last game losing to North Carolina at Duke. So it doesn't make a difference. But it was Corbin Ryan. He was the one scored 31 points. He was on fire. The reason why they won the game.
From threes.
Oh, bro, 75%, 6 of 8 from 3 points. And he was draining it. Like, come on, man.
But imagine Armando Baycott catches a water bottle in his eye.
Yeah, that's true.
He sees the person that throws it, and he goes after him. Now what?
Baycott's
the bad guy.
Yep, he'll be looking at the bad guy. Exactly.
Or if that guy's like 4 rows up, you know what? I can't get him, but I got you. You know, now it's a dangerous situation for somebody who didn't even do anything. He's just
exactly.
there.
But they don't even think that way. I mean, they probably drinking at the game and doing what college kids do, getting amped up for a rivalry like that. And you know what's on the line in the ACC regular season championship? They still have the ACC tournament coming up anyway because March Madness is certainly around the corner. I mean, Selection Sunday, is on Sunday. You know what I
It
mean?
won't be in Cameron Indoor though, so there'll be fans from other
Oh,
schools
there'll
there.
be fans from other schools. Yeah, it's not going to be in Cameron Indoor. But the point is that this rivalry is supposed to be able to last wherever it's at. Wherever it's at in North Carolina and Southeast, wherever it goes, that rivalry is still supposed to be that tight. And it's getting back to what it once was. You're still kind of not draining, but you're trying to get back to at least something of which Coach K had once upon a time, or even Roy Williams before things started kind of falling apart with him. But this North Carolina team, and this is a microcosm, in my opinion, of what college basketball or even college sports is becoming these days. I mentioned Cormac Ryan and the way he just threw it out there, 31 points. Only 2 players in that team had double digits in order for him to win. For them to win, was it just him? I believe it might have been him. But anyways, he goes out there and plays lights out. But then you think about it, the dude's 25 years old. He'll be 26 in October. This is what college basketball and college sports is now. He's in his 6th season, which includes a red shirt, which he didn't play, but it's still 6 seasons, not on even on that campus. This is his 3rd team. Stanford, Notre Dame, now North Carolina. This is what we have in college basketball, college sports.
Yeah, that should be coming to an end, though. I mean, I don't think anybody else has COVID years left, so that should be coming to an end.
And that's true. But you know what? You get rid of the COVID years, but then you look at the amount of teams, 3 teams still. 3 teams that you're on, this is just not traditional as it once was. I don't want to be one of these people that wants to talk about what happened yesteryear and try to hang on to it, knowing that things change. But man, 3 teams, man. We're talking 6 years, 3 teams. So you take 2 years of each team, even though it was just 1 at Stanford. But that's just what college football and basketball is becoming now. If I can't get my shot here, I'll go somewhere else. But yeah, he did have his career day, and North Carolina was able to pull it off. So that way we can go from the men's basketball and what had happened right before the NCAA tournament and Selection Sunday, which is on Sunday, going to the women's basketball. This is the most we've talked about women's basketball and forever. I'm talking about this season. And it all starts with Caitlin Clark. Come on. All eyes are on women's basketball because of that. All of the things that come with it, well, that's a bonus. And because of it, it benefits the women. So, yeah, let's talk about what happened. LSU, South Carolina, 2 powerhouse teams in the SEC.
Yeah, my issue with that, there's a rivalry there. Emotions are running high. Things are going to happen. Man, props to Dawn Staley. She was class personified in her statement. She apologized. She said that's not who we are. That's not who we want to be. And then on the other side, you got Kim, the gang leader, Moki. I wish you would have pushed Angel Reese. Pick out somebody your own side.
She was a bigger girl, yeah.
Come on, coach. What? Come on, man. You can't say that. And I don't even think anybody in the media even questioned her statement or said, Coach, are you sure that's what you want? I mean, you talk about a lack of.
No, they've been coming down.
It's like both ends of the spectrum. Dawn Staley, class personified. Kim Mulkey, trash personified.
Trash personified, exactly. Trash personified. And there have been people coming after her, though. I've read several articles now that even Shannon Sharp has come after him now. He's so big in sports and pretty much social consciousness now. He came up with it and talked about it. He didn't just rag on her, but he brought it up and saying how that was probably the wrong way to go. There's no probably to it. That was the wrong way to go for her to go about talking about this. And you know what? The same thing. She deserves the same thing. A man that would have said the same thing. She's bringing that thug mentality to the court just as well. And it doesn't have anything to do with race, because while I read so many articles, I've also seen so many people, I've read of so many people trying to make this a real issue. You can go to someone like Deadspin. Now, what credibility do you give Deadspin? Whatever. But you can still see that there's a lot of people who read those articles because it's out there and it's strong. And they're talking about she used her white privilege to take advantage of it and say this and that. What kind of nonsense was that? No, what she said would have been bad for anyone, because it was her saying the opposite and Dawn Staley saying that, we would have said the same thing. But it didn't end up that way. It's bad regardless of who says it.
I see the point. Like, the reactions from the majority would have been way different if Dawn Staley would have said it.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You know what? If someone, look, let's be legitimately realistic. If that would have happened and you didn't know who had done it, you would have assumed it was South Carolina's coach who said it. If you didn't know. Not you, but I mean, generally speaking, way things go. something happens, you almost automatically think, man, that Dawn Staley probably had a big mouth. If they just showed you a quote and you knew there was a fight, you would think that it was Dawn Staley. That would have been a lot of people's first inclination.
Probably.
And her thugs. And then you find out it's not. Then you're like, damn.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, like I said, props to Dawn Staley. She handled it the right way. She said the right things. It's kind of like Chris Rock. He didn't reply. He didn't respond to Will Smith smacking him.
Not right away.
He just came back. He just came back with jokes. But I'm saying on stage at that moment,
yeah,
he could have got, for lack of a better word, ghetto, and all hell could have broke loose.
Absolutely.
But to his credit, he's like,
to do that.
I'm not gonna fight in front of all these people. So he just took it like a man, and props to Chris Rock too.
Yeah, Chris, my man, he did come back. So Chris Rock came back with some fire, and he got paid for putting up that fire. So this dude absolutely capitalized on what he should have done. And we're talking about college basketball. We got a chance to talk about the men's only because no one really knows about what happened with Duke and North Carolina. And then we move over to this LSU South Carolina game, knowing that's the big story right now. And I understand, well, women's basketball is getting much more popularity. And I'm thinking it started from the college game up. And I think it all starts with Caitlin Carter, but it started from the college game up. Caitlin Clark. Man.
Who's Caitlin Carter?
Name, man? Josh Purdy, Caitlin Clark, all these people. Come on.
Well, yeah, it does start with Caitlin, but I don't think it carries over into the WNBA. Not until she gets there.
The reason why I say that is because now she's the projected #1 overall pick, and I know that the sponsorships, even though NIL is a thing in college, that's going to be a thing going into the pros, and we kind of can see that is already pretty much a thing that's going to happen. She's probably going to get a lot of sponsorships that veteran WNBA players aren't getting, even though they've been in that long and proven doing what they've done, winning championships whenever they had. And I think she's going to, this is the new age money that's going to come in. And it's based on what she's done, deservedly so. But I can see how those feathers are going to get ruffled by a lot of people.
She already has State Farm and Gatorade and a couple others I can't think of at the moment. So once she gets to the NBA, WNBA, I mean,
it's going to be on.
Yeah.
And she has to produce.
It's probably going to be Caitlin Clark overkill. She's going to be in too many commercials.
Yep.
She already has haters, but man, she's going to get more haters. But as long as she performs, she has to perform though.
Yeah, exactly. But the haters we're talking about are the usual suspects, the people who aren't hating because of a game. They're making it another issue, and it's not so subliminal that they're trying to do it. They're not being subtle about what they don't like. We've heard this, and we've talked about it several times. In fact, I sent you at least a screenshot of an article that I saw on USA Today when it comes down to Caitlin Clark pretty much. And you see, it says women's basketball needs faces of the future to be black. You come out in a national newspaper, a newspaper that people do take serious. This isn't a blog. This is a serious newspaper, USA Today, saying something like that the face of college basketball, or at least women's basketball, needs to be black. Are you freaking serious? And then when you click on the article, you hear them explain it, or they try to explain it, and it still didn't really make the case. If basketball is supposed to only be basketball, why is race such a bigger issue in the game of basketball, men's and women's? But now it seems like women are taking center stage. In this case, getting the publicity they probably don't want based on race. Yes, 70%, maybe even more of the WNBA is black. But the article says that it's a shame that these women who have built the WNBA are not getting the credit they're due. And now you have someone like Caitlin Clark, who's not even in the WNBA yet.
Will it be a shame when they play in front of their first sellout ever?
No, of course not. Exactly. And they're throwing people out like Juju Watkins and Hannah Hidalgo, and they're going to be great players. In fact, they're both in contention for freshman of the year in women's college basketball. Mm-hmm. And they have a ways to go, and they could probably break her record as well. But the way the article was written and all the nonsense that was said about how these black women aren't, like, we don't know who Cheryl Swoops was. Like, we don't know who the other black players, like Candace Parker, as dominant she was.
Maya Moore.
Maya Moore, exactly. Maya Moore. We talk, man.
Shamika Ho, what was it?
Co-score.
I mean, I can't say that name.
But
Sorry.
I mean,
Apology to
and
Shamika.
even now with Brittany Griner, she's the latest star. I thought still, I haven't seen a better female basketball player from when I watched it in college, as good as she was in college to this point, still in the WNBA. So they're saying that they're not getting enough recognition, that these white girls are just getting more attention now. Really? Sue Bird got attention, but exactly more than
She's not exactly a household name.
exactly. I don't think any of them really are household names, and if
Janet
they are,
Tarazi's not a household name. I mean,
Tarasi was a bigger
if
name
they
for
wanted,
UConn than she's in the WNBA.
yeah, if they wanted to promote somebody, they had a couple opportunities. I
And
mean,
they're acting like there's someone
Caitlin
out here.
Clark, she's just like, I can't even describe it, man. She's like a lightning rod, just, and she gets so much attention, attraction. It's her game, man. She's fun to watch. When you shoot from 40 feet away, when you drop behind the back dimes, when you throw a 45-foot pass from the other side of half court and
Yep.
drop it right there for a layup. I mean, if everybody was doing it, it wouldn't be a big deal. But because she's pretty much the only one doing it consistently, it's a big deal.
And she's doing it on a team where she's unequivocally the only player in some of these big games. They're playing against these powerhouses. If you go to LSU, if you go to South Carolina, they have more than one person who's a very good player and one person who's probably a dominant player. Well, she's the good and dominant player on Iowa. You know who you have to stop, and she's still dropping 30 and 40. She's still getting her assists. She's still getting the three-pointers. She's still doing all of these things that she's doing when she's playing the poor sisters or the blind and poor. So I mean, and it always keeps coming back to race. Why can't we just have a game and watch them play the game and see if the best person wins without having to invoke race? And these people in the newspaper, keep your politics in the political section. Let the sport play itself out. But now you have just fans who talk about the same things because that's what they've read and that's what they've heard, and they respect the people they write only because they agree with them. And it's bad because it's not even just. And when you read the comments, I think that gives you even a better idea than reading the articles, because now we have opportunities on social media to read the comments. So that gives you the bare bones, raw sample size of what people pretty much are thinking. You can decipher between the trolls and people who really believe what they're saying for the most part. But Abby Steiner, the track runner who ran for Kentucky, absolutely phenomenal, set all these records. And I saw the hate from her as if there's a patent or a copyright on being a freaking a white runner versus a black runner. Unbelievable. Who does she think she is? Matt Bowling, another one. I remember when he just absolutely obliterated in high school the 100 meters. He beat the closest guy by like 3 or 4 meters. Absolutely blew him away. He's killing it in Georgia. And they were talking nonsense about him. Unbelievable. If it's the other way around, we'll have people taking knees, crying, bitching, moaning, groaning, and burning down houses.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why people just can't watch something and just take it for what it is. Why you have to put meaning behind this or put meaning behind that, or why, or compare this to that, or I don't care if she's a white girl.
Man,
I don't care. I wouldn't care if she was orange. I wouldn't care if she was blue. She's bad. That's the bottom line. She's a fucking badass on the basketball court.
As simple as that. But you know what? And it's, man, it just sucks, man. People come to sports as a diversion from the outside nonsense, and then they put the outside nonsense into sports, and you can't escape it. And it just becomes a mess. And then you have other elements of the outside nonsense that just throws it all out of whack when you get these guys trying to compete against women and acting like they're freaking women as well. I don't even think that's an argument for another time. We shouldn't even bother talking about those people to begin with. Call it what
Let's
it is.
Get into football, man. NFL side.
Man, the NFL's lit up right now, man. I mean, look, DeAndre Swift had 1 year after going from Detroit to the Philadelphia Eagles, had a good season, great season for his standards, went over 1,000 yards, and then they trade him. He gets traded. What did he get traded to? I think he got traded to the Bears. Yo, boys. Yeah, that's what he got traded to.
It wasn't a trade, though. He signed.
Oh, he signed. Yeah, exactly.
He got 3 years, 24
with 1 year left on the contract.
Yeah.
I think
that's an upgrade. I don't view him as a top 5 running back, but it's an upgrade.
You
So
know what? Man, I tell you what, there was moments when I watched this guy. See, I saw him at Georgia, and I was like, man, he's gonna be a damn good player. I don't think Detroit should have been the team he had gone to, even though Jameer Gibbs had played a very good as a rookie, played very good up there as a rookie. Man, but I think anywhere else he would have been done well, and that's probably why when he did go to Philadelphia, he did do well. I think that, bro, he's a legitimate number one guy now. He's an elite number one guy. What's legitimate and what's elite now in the NFL today when running backs aren't valued as much as they used to be? Is he going to catch out of the backfield more because that's what you have to do to justify what you're making? I'm thinking now as a Bears fan and you knowing what this draft is all about, could that give you, is that like a subliminal message, some kind of a sign that, you know what, Justin Fields was our leading rusher last season. We have a legitimate dude who ran for over 1,000 yards. We bring him in, bro. Justin Fields might just be good where he's at. And now he has a real running back, so he doesn't have to do this.
Well, the crazy thing is they were reportedly in on Saquon Barkley also, who's signing with Philly.
Philly, yep.
I don't read too much into it. I think it's just an upgrade. They had an opportunity to upgrade at the running back position. 3 years, $24 million. That's not really an outrageous contract. So
No.
I think it made sense. You want to upgrade. We mentioned this before. A young quarterback's best friend is the running game and a good tight end. So, anything to help the run game.
Man, and then the New York Giants let Saquon Barkley go to the rivals, which are the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to try to get some get back, but Saquon Barkley hasn't been the same since his rookie year because of the injuries mostly. Now, does he still have that explosiveness? The power's still there regardless. The explosiveness is what he doesn't have from his rookie year. Obviously, in the NFL, you're probably not 6 years down the line. But then the Giants end up signing Devin Singletary after losing Saquon Barkley. Devin Singletary, coming from the Houston Texans, had 2 100-yard games in his freaking career. I mean, not career, in this past season.
Yeah.
Oh, one actually, because Saquon Barkley had 2.
Yeah, and they still have Daniel Jones. Maybe they should trade for Justin.
Here's the problem. But who wants to trade for this guy? Look at the money they gave him.
They should trade for Justin Fields. He'd be a decent backup.
No, Jones would be the decent backup.
That's what I'm saying. Daniel Jones would back up Justin Fields.
He would beat him out. So, but you look at these running backs changing spots and you look at players overall. Eric Armstead is going to get let go from San Francisco. The longest tenured player on the team.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It probably just time for him to go. Probably salary
money. He didn't want to take the pay cut. They
salary cap casualty.
Yeah, they say he didn't want to take the pay cut. I think they're like $200,000 over the salary cap before they let him go, and then of course they'll be better off when he's not there, at least financially. Now, defensive line wise, where does he end up? Now that formidable defensive line that we thought and talked about all last season that ended up trying to be that way, but still losing the Super Bowl. Where does he go now? I mean, he has a lot of options as a defensive and interior guy that can actually get after the quarterback. I think he has over 30 sacks, 33 sacks in his career at the middle, bro. That's pretty good if you're a defensive tackle.
Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that could use a veteran quality D lineman.
Philadelphia, hell, Javon Hargrave goes over there. Take Eric Armstead, bring him over there.
Could be. I don't know their cap situation, but
yeah, that's true too.
That defense does need some help because last 7 games of the season, they were giving up a lot of points. Chunks,
bro. They couldn't get to the quarterback. Then the running back ran by him, so it didn't matter if they got to the quarterback. By the time they got to the quarterback, it was a draw play, and the running back blew him up. And now Kirk Cousins, man, in freaking Atlanta. I like that move, man. $100 million
guaranteed.
Yeah, I actually like that, man.
I don't know.
I mean, for Atlanta, because Atlanta, since Matty Ice, come on, what the hell did they have at quarterback? I thought Desmond Ridder was going to start showing something and give you a poor man somebody. He's just a poor player, and it's just not going anywhere.
But, I mean, that's a lot guaranteed for a guy who plays well in the regular season and hasn't really lived up to it in the postseason.
And that's true, too, because even in the regular season, when his numbers were looking good, the Vikings were still losing. I think they were like 1-3 at one point, 1-4. And he had nice numbers. And when he had gotten injured, he still had good numbers. But now down in Atlanta, he does have Bijan Robinson as a running back. So a good running game, a very experienced quarterback. Now get some receivers around him.
Goes from one dome to another.
Yeah, and that's also a benefit. You know what I mean? You don't got to be outside and the elements screwing with you. Yeah, you'll get your opportunities outside, but half your games are going to be home. So you go well, it's half as they could possibly be now with 17 games. But
what's crazy is the Steelers only have to pay Russell Wilson like $1.5 million.
Really, I didn't even look at the details of that. I
Yeah,
just saw that he
because
was
the
going
Broncos are paying him $37 million
to get out, man. They're like, get out, bro. Go, get out of here. But yo, did you hear what Carl Mecklenburg had to say? The old
I
legendary.
saw a clip, something I don't recall, but I saw it on YouTube. Carl Mecklenburg. I'm like talking about coming out of the woodworks.
Bro, well, yeah, he's a legend over there in Denver, so I'm
I know.
sure he has some type of radio show or somewhere people can listen to him. He was legendary when he did play on those Super Bowl teams that didn't win, but he and Rulon Jones was still bringing the wood. But he said, I kind of have to paraphrase, I don't have it in front of me. He was talking about, oh, this guy was selfish. He's the epitome of selfishness because he had his family around during training camp. He had his own office in the building. Bro, get out of here with that. I didn't know that.
You got to watch film, man. Got to watch that film.
Bro, so, okay, did you invite some receivers and people to your office? Tell your coach, quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator, and come to my office. We'll watch film, you know?
And the coach, Peyton could have said no, right? You know, you don't get an office. Or
well, it was before Peyton came. He was there when Peyton.
Well, when he got there, sorry.
Yeah, so, yo, bro, I got my office, man. You don't come here changing things. That's what he told Peyton. Yo, get out of here. Yo, bro, do it somewhere else. But the fact that this guy and Carl Mecklenburg saying that when other players couldn't have their family around during training camp, he was allowed to, bro, that alone causes, and you see now how the team fell apart. That causes dissension, man. When you have someone who's obviously treated differently than the other guys, you hear these guys like Peyton Manning, and even here in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, you hear these people who are the leaders of the team, but they go out of their way to try to be normal and act like the rest of the teammates. They don't let you know that, yep, he's the leader of the team. He's the quarterback in the future of the franchise. And he's doing things differently than what the rest of the teammates are doing. They're trying to do everything to do what the other guys are doing. They're not trying to stand out. And it helps with chemistry. So if Russell Wilson did that, you can kind of see how things kind of fell apart.
Yeah, I could see that. And I could see why people didn't like him. Peyton didn't like him.
Yeah.
The other teammates. But I don't think that's going to fly with Tomlin.
Nah, bro, you already know that. Tomlin's house. That's Tomlin's house, not Tomlin's office, and not your office. It's going to be Tomlin's house. And things are going to. And Tomlin just gets this kind of respect from players anyway. His own players, first of all, players on the outside, I think, have respect for him. And if they're coming into his house, bro, I think it's nothing but respect. But Russell Wilson kind of, in the beginning, I followed him at North Carolina State. I don't know if you followed North Carolina State football since you like their basketball. But when he was there, this dude was nice. And then when he left, the story was North Carolina State wasn't going to allow him to play baseball at the same time as football. And I was like, well, so many quarterbacks, people do that, but it came down to a spring practice issue. All right. He goes to Wisconsin. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate for about 4 weeks, maybe even 5, and kind of like tapered off, but still was good enough to get drafted as a third rounder. Wins the job as a rookie and does well, gets himself a Super Bowl along the way. But then things start falling apart. I guess along with this stardom came that attitude that probably compounded the attitude he might have had. But when things are going well, people tolerate the attitude better.
Yeah, when teams are winning, people aren't really going to make a big stink about certain things. But once the winning goes away, people get agitated. They get irked, and this bothers them, that bothers them. Well, how come this? Why that? So I think Russ is going to have to go into Pittsburgh with the humble attitude, and I think that'll work to his advantage. If he goes in there thinking, I'm married to Sierra, we're a hot couple, she's a diva, I'm her man, you know what I'm saying? That type of attitude. One, Tomlin ain't gonna stand for it. And two, it ain't gonna last long. That marriage is gonna be broken like that.
And I think this is what they need.
I'm not talking about him and Sierra. I'm talking about him and the Steelers.
Yeah, well, that marriage is looks like he's on solid ground so far from what we see from the outside looking in. But as far as the quarterback situation goes with Kenny Pickett, at least this is a quarterback you can bring in. You're not breaking the bank, as you said, paying as little as they're paying because Denver just wants him out of the goddamn building. They just want him out of the building. So with him being on that team, at least for 1 year, and you have Kenny Pickett who's able to develop under him, he's going to be upset because he's not going to be given the keys, but he's behind someone who's at least won a Super Bowl, someone who's a fringe Hall of Famer, maybe even a Hall of Famer. So it wouldn't be as hard to swallow. And if they get a quarterback now in the draft, that might be another problem for Kenny Pickett. But as it stands right now, Kenny Pickett can sit back. Russell Wilson, with those players around him, that coach around him, that organization, people know about that Pittsburgh Steelers organization for decades. I think he's in a perfect spot. I mean, a very good spot to kind of to flourish, or even if he has a little bit left in the tank, that's enough. Look what they've done last year with nothing in the tank at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good spot for him.
Absolutely.
But how about your Jags trading for Mac Jones?
Mac Jones. Yeah, you know, I've been on that Mac Jones bandwagon since he had gone to Alabama, and I saw how bad he was when things started up, and he eventually had gotten better, gotten himself into the Heisman Trophy race. I wanted the Jets to get him when he came out and went to the draft, but the Patriots ended up getting him. He did have a good first year, but then things started falling apart. You're getting these different coordinators and coaches. Things fall apart, and he never really picked it back up. Now, Bailey Zappi is the backup and was doing better than him when he had his opportunities. Now, didn't they get another quarterback just now? The Patriots? Or they look? They're going to get.
I'm not sure.
With the number 3 pick, they're looking to get a quarterback, and from what the stories say, they're going to get a veteran to back up that quarterback or play in front of that quarterback until that quarterback develops enough before they can go and put him out there. But Mac Jones coming back to Jacksonville. I watched him play as a high school kid at Bowles High School, man. You know, always looking out for these local guys. I wish that he would have had a better career, but being around familiar faces may be helpful. Could be detrimental as well.
How's that going to work out with him and Trevor? Aren't they around the same age?
Yeah, they're about the same age. But the deal with Trevor is that he's the number 1 pick overall. He did get that mulligan last year because he excelled a little bit sooner than he should have in the second year, getting into the playoffs and getting close to the Super Bowl. This 4th year, though, and I think it's smart on the Jaguars' behalf to get someone like Mac Jones. There were so many times last season when he should have been benched. Trevor Lawrence was throwing some very bad passes way before he got injured. And I was wondering, man, it looked like he regressed. And sometimes he would stay there with the ball in his hands for 3-4 seconds. And you think when you got that much time, someone with that kind of a mindset is going to find a receiver. He wasn't doing it. And then Calvin Ridley, another player who may not come back to Jacksonville because he came as a trade and because he came off of the suspension and there was 1 year left on his contract. So money-wise, he'll be a free agent as well. So then Christian Kirk coming off of injury, who was the great number 2, now you want to put him back at number 1. He's not a legitimate number 1. You need to bring someone else in. But Mac Jones, I think it's a perfect situation for him. The pressure isn't to start every day, just prepare. But then when Trevor Lawrence starts getting injured, as he's been showing the proclivity to do over the past couple of seasons, hey, put him in.
I'm sure Ridley wants a bag, but if I'm him, I call the Chiefs. I know you guys need a receiver.
Oh, yeah, Chiefs, man. But you know what? The Chiefs might have a chance to get a receiver in the draft, even though you don't want to have a rookie coming in, but it's been happening too often now of late with the NFL being what it is offensively and not as physical in terms of, things at the line. Rookies can come in and just play and do well. I mean, and Higgins wants to leave Cincinnati now.
Yeah, he's fed up.
He's fed up, bro. Hey, so wide receivers, bro, they're everywhere. And then you have a draft that has some solid wide receivers. Xavier Worthy's stock has gone up for obvious reasons. Hey, man,
let me ask you, do you think the Browns window is shut? Did it close?
Man, they need a quarterback. And it's not Deshaun Watson. I think the window is shut.
No. I meant Bengals. Sorry, Bengals, not Browns.
Oh, no. As long as Joe Burrow's there, man. As long as Joe Burrow's there, they got that chance. Because I think even Kansas City last season showed you that if a quarterback is on top of his game at the right time, things could happen. And the defense just got better when they didn't have a great defense. The whole other times they won the Super Bowl, the defense wasn't really that great. Now the defense turned out to be great because I believe they had so many opportunities while that offense was struggling all season. I say Joe Burrow, man, I'm not gonna say every bit as good as Mahomes because Mahomes on another level. But Burrow, certainly, if you had levels to this, he'll be the level right under Mahomes, even after the injuries. We just have to see the consistency.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just saying, they have a dynamic duo with Chase and Higgins, and
Yeah,
now they're going to lose Higgins. Sometimes, when they break up the band, the team's not the same.
and that's the truth, man. That's the truth. But man, can you do it with one receiver? I mean, and try to make up for
It's
other spots.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it because Joe Burrow is that guy. I think he can make the player the same way Mahomes has made the player. This past season, he made Rashay Rice the player. You know what I mean? We didn't know anything about him outside of his college career. Mahomes getting the ball to him when he needed to get the ball to him when everyone else was dropping it is why we now know who he is. And I think it's becoming a little bit like the running backs where, man, you could probably get a second, third round wide receiver and still do some things with him if the right
Yeah.
quarterback is there.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of free agents still available. Got the draft. Things going to change a lot between now and start of the season. So, a lot of things can change. So we can't really make any predictions or anything like that.
Nah, no, man, we'd be crazy to make predictions, especially with all these.
I predict
Yeah,
Justin Fields will not be on the Bears in the 2024 season.
wow. Now
That's
that
my
prediction there, to me, the first thing I thought about with the DeAndre Swift trade was, you know what? Now he's legitimately going to be the leading rusher and be looked at to be the leading rusher. Not that they look for Justin Fields to do that, but I think that it will help the passing game if he becomes that solid running back that you need. Justin Fields, man, see, because I'm not a Bears fan, so I don't have any emotion attached to it. But I liked him when he came out of Georgia and went up to Ohio State. I saw the talent there, saw him a little bit of high school, but then seeing him here as a pro, the talent's there. You just, you just want to have at least 3 or 4 straight games where he's excelling so that you can justify, okay, this guy has something. And it just hasn't happened. He'll have the 2 games, and then he's back to doing what he did as a rookie. Or he'll fumble the ball like you shouldn't fumble it.
That's the frustrating thing.
And that's just, I don't know, man. I just don't really know what to say about that. But as far as what other teams are out there that need to make moves, I remember this past weekend. I don't know if they do these things on purpose, but yes, I know they do these things on purpose. They're always sending these not so subtle notes over the internet, and now with social media being as huge as it is. Derrick Henry's real estate agent takes a picture of him. Derrick Henry's expectant girlfriend. Well, I think he's married to her now. Girlfriend or married, regardless. They're taking a picture in Dallas saying Derrick Henry just bought a house in Dallas.
Wow.
Tony Pollard is not going back to Dallas, it looks like, because he's in the free agency market. Well, could this be? Bruh, I mean, it doesn't seem like a bad idea if Derrick Henry goes down there with a better offensive line than he had in Tennessee and a better quarterback situation. Dak isn't bad. Dak just doesn't win when he needs to win.
Dak's not bad in the regular season. It's the postseason he has issues with.
You know what? But if you could get a Derrick Henry banging on players throughout the season, opening things up a little bit even more for Dak, I think that's a good pickup for them if they can get Derrick Henry.
Maybe. But let's talk some NBA.
What's going on with the NBA now?
Did you see Anthony Davis's box score?
I saw the stat line. What's up with that?
What's up with that is
number 1.
No Rudy Gobert, no Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, he had a great game, but he should have had a great game. They didn't have no big man to guard him.
Well, hey, but AD is talented anyway. The problem with AD has always been his injuries. I think he could go up against anybody. Even if those guys were there, he probably wouldn't have had as great a game. But on his best night against their best night,
I can guarantee you he would not have had as great a game.
Huh?
He would. I can guarantee you he would not have had.
Oh, he wouldn't have had as great a game. I'm just saying on his best night,
the game he had was historic. It was like he was playing against midgets almost last night.
He was the big guy in the class. But I mean,
trust him. He handled his business. He did what he had to do. Lakers got the W. But come on, man. Again, let's put it in perspective. No Gobert, no Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
He had nobody to fight with down low. He had nobody had to worry about protecting the rim. No big guy for rebounds. He did what he had to do.
Well, I mean, Anthony Davis, there's no question of his talent. It's all about staying healthy. And as long as he's healthy, man, he's going to be a prolific player. Like I was going to say, him on his best night against any of those guys you named on their best night, I think he's still the best of the two, of the three.
Yeah, he is, but having to battle them, he's not going to put up those
He's not
numbers.
gonna put up those numbers, well, that's just one of these things that happens in the NBA now, especially with rest periods and now injuries. Yeah, that's gonna happen. And but that's just one game. The Lakers still have a long way to go to try to look good for playoff time.
Yeah, and the Warriors, I know Steph didn't play, but they lost to the Spurs.
Oh, they
I
got
mean,
didn't get blown out.
they lost by like 13, I think.
Oh, okay. No, I know another night. I can't remember. I think I
They
saw.
they were playing better. They had moved up ahead of the Lakers to number 9. Now they're back below the Lakers at number 10.
Wait.
Um, and they gotta have Steph, but that's a game they can't lose at home to the Spurs with or
Nah,
without
no,
Steph.
nah. Even though the Spurs are getting better, you can see bad teams when you see a bad team, like Detroit's playing like poorly, but you look at it, Detroit. I think Detroit
They
against
lost to the
Washington.
Bulls with Steph.
They
So
what
the the Warriors, they lost to the Bulls with
with
Steph.
yeah, but the Bulls aren't that bad though. I'm not
They're
as
not that
bad.
good.
No, they're not that good, but they're not the bottom feeders like Washington,
Yeah,
Detroit.
when you're fighting to improve your position in the West, you can't let a middle of the road Eastern team come in
And
and
that's
beat you
true.
on your home floor.
And that's true. You know, but man, I'm still thinking that the Bulls aren't that bad a team this year because I didn't know what to expect from the Bulls this year. You hear all these trade rumors and nothing happens, and you expect them to kind of like muddle along, and they're still keeping themselves in the thick of things right now. They can still make a move and still get into the playoffs. If they get some consistent winning. I mean,
But they'll probably be in the play-in like they were last year and
you
get
know what?
bounced.
And at least have an opportunity at the playing, man. It's a whole new season once that playing game starts. All you need to do is qualify for the tournament. All those bottom feeders who won't be able to play because they've been out of it, well, that's the result of what they've done all season long. They haven't played well enough to get in there. But for
Well,
the team,
I can make another prediction. The Chicago Bulls will not make a Miami Heat like run in the playoffs this year.
the Miami Heat is trying to make another Miami Heat like run right now. The Heat, man. So yeah, I don't think there are a handful of teams in the NBA who could do what they did last year, what Miami had done. But Miami looks like they're trying to do something like that. Now, what about the Celtics? I mean, the best team in the NBA right now. I mean, regular season, but this seems like it. They could carry it on into the playoffs. I mean, you look at the pieces, man. These are
Did,
playoff pieces.
did you watch the Nuggets game?
The other night, that was Saturday night, wasn't it?
I don't remember what night it was. I just know Jokic, man, he abused Porzingis. Porzingis might have the height, but he don't have the strength. He don't have the girth. Even though we laugh about all the time, Jokic is going in slow motion. Porzingis couldn't. Man, he was getting knocked out of the way.
I don't know.
They and Horford. Horford maybe is the best matchup. Horford's slow. Jokic is slow.
Horford's slow, yeah, but he's a granddaddy, man. Horford's an old dude.
That might be the best matchup for the Celtics, but Porzingis, he didn't bother Jokic at all. They got to come up with another game plan if they see the Nuggets again.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I might have missed that one then. The Celtics and the Nuggets. I could have sworn I saw it, but I've been watching quite a few games, man. ABC has been giving us some luck over the past couple of weeks, getting a chance to see a few double headers and watch some of this NBA ball going on. But I don't know. Looking at the team, look at the East. The Celtics are unequivocally the best team in the East. You look at the West. You can't unequivocally say that now Minnesota with KAT down, that's going to happen like that. Or even Oklahoma City because they're just too damn young, at least right now. But you have to get your experience from somewhere, and it has to start somewhere. So, it has to start somewhere. So just because, you're a bunch of young kids winning right now, and all of a sudden the playoffs come and you don't know how to win. These kids were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. And they added Chet, who's, no pushover. He's a quality guy to add.
Quality, man. I'm glad.
Injury. But it is his first full season. Who knows if he's going to hit that wall?
I think all NBA players, even the special ones, that wall has to be a problem. But because of the NBA now, as opposed to the NBA, even just 5 years ago, you have these documented rest sessions they have, and they let you know about players resting. So unless a player really is going to put his foot down and says, "Yeah, I want to play," and even then, I don't think it matters. But yes, but I think he's going to, in his body, he's slight, even though he did put on weight in the offseason while injured. He's still slight. Reminds me still a lot of Porzingis when he came in, and you saw year after year him putting on the weight and filling out his body and still his skill set rising. Chet is in the same spot. The only thing about it, being injured as he was, missing his real rookie year. Now this is his rookie year. Reminds me of what's his name that came out of Oklahoma years ago. Oh my God! Went to the Clippers. Number one, got injured in the preseason. We have Blake Griffin. Why am I just forgetting guys like Anthony Joshua punched my head off? Can't remember anything anymore. Yeah, but Blake Griffin was in the same boat. And I still think that injury is the reason why Blake Griffin didn't turn out to be the player he was expected to be. That guy's talent was unquestionable coming out. That knee injury really ruined his career.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure I got anything else.
Well, we talked about I can't believe we spent that much time on women's college basketball, but I tell you what, there's an appeal there now.
There's 6 ejections and comments from the coach. Yeah, you got to talk about it.
So many ejections. Only 11 players from both teams combined were able to finish out the game. That's it. You had a team of 5 and 5 plus 1. I don't know who had that extra player. Yeah, they had to finish out the game like that because of all the ejections. And then a dude tries to come in from the audience on the scoreboard to get into the
fight. That was one of the girls' brother. But
bro, stay your ass in the audience, man.
But what are you gonna do? Go in there and punch a girl, push a girl?
Bro, that's funny, man. I don't care, but you don't get your emotions somewhere. Put them things back. You don't run off onto the court. Now you could probably get arrested and all that other nonsense. Man, I see my sister fighting. Stop. It's not like that, man. I mean, everybody down for theirs when they can get down for theirs, but you also know there's a time and place. There was no real serious threat out there on his sister for him to come doing the Superman routine. Come on, man.
Yeah.
If that was a men's game, does he come down from now?
He needed to stay in the
stands. But anyway, yeah, but that'll probably be it for now, man. But once again, we could not leave this weekend alone without these people bothering us with all these things going on, fights, boxing and basketball. And then
Ryan Garcia.
Oh God, this guy. He has he needs his own new show. The things he's saying, the things he's doing, drunk, all this crap, bro. He doesn't want to fight, man.
But did you see he said they made him watch little kids get raped?
Who made him watch little kids get raped?
He's talking some crazy wild stuff about the Illuminati.
Yo, bro, forget the fight in May. Get this guy some freaking help. Get him some help.
Devin Haney says give him an Oscar. He's a great actor. But
I hope that, you know what? I'd rather accept that him acting like he wants to fight but really doesn't want to fight than him really having.
I'm talking about he's referring to the things Garcia's been saying. He went on a podcast with Andrew Tate. Mm-hmm. He said they took his phone away. He didn't have no access to social media. They've been sending him warnings. He says he has evidence. He's gonna drop the truth. He's saying all kind of stuff, man. It's crazy,
man. But just looking at what he's done recently in the past, dude was drunk at the press conference. You saw it in his eyes. Then he talks about it when he was with Devin Haney on the podium. And then Devin Haney, professional as hell, man. He's disappointed, man, because he knows that it seems like this guy's trying to get out of the fight. He talks about how he smoked weed and he did this and that, all the other. And then they go face to face. Devin's like, yo, I smell the alcohol in your breath, man. Bro, this dude's really drunk up there. You can see his eyes. And you see Oscar De La Hoya and freaking Mario Lopez back there. Say by the bell. Just like, what's going on here, man? What are we doing? Bizarro World Boxing going on.
No kidding. It reminds me of when Horshack fought.
Oh, God, Screech,
yeah.
The late Screech, by the way, Dustin Diamond.
Yeah, well, both of them are passed.
Yeah, they're both gone now. But yeah, nerve versus nerve. But look, you know what? Screech did have a background in martial arts.
Yeah, that was an unfair fight, man. Screech beat the shit out of Horshack.
Down, man. But come on, if we're talking about some celebrity matchups, how about the Fridge versus Manute Bowl?
That was wild.
That was
so wild.
that man was gassed out about to have a heart attack. That's how he won. Manute had like 100-inch reach. Jabbing him
Like, he didn't even have to come out the corner to throw his jab.
For real, my man was just jabbing him for the freaking center of the ring. The Fridge was still in the corner. What the hell? Ooh, Fridge is not doing so well lately either, from what I've seen and heard. But God, man. Anyway, Dad, this is the way it ends. This is the way this show is.
Yo, if you don't know who Horshack and Screech were, if you're too young to know, man, just watch YouTube it. Put in Screech versus Horshack. Horshack, Horshak. What?
He jacked up his eye in that fight too. Horshack's eye.
Man, he hurt his feelings. He beat his head so bad, not just his eye.
The battle of the nerds. When one plays a nerd on television, one's really a martial artist outside of
he was showboating on them too, man. I was like, oh, don't do him like that, Screech.
Hey, he was old, man. Come on, Horshack was an old guy.
He was.
The dude was a star back in the 70s, man.
Oh, remember Todd Bridges against Vanilla Ice?
Oh, man. Todd Bridges.
Vanilla Ice was like, this is for all the rappers who don't like your ass.
Bro, Todd Bridges was on another YouTube video at a store where some dude hit him in his face, man, inside of a freaking convenience store. And his hat came off, and he looked like George Jefferson with that. These the comments had me crying, man.
Oh,
like,
my gosh.
We knocked his different strokes into the Jeffersons and holler, yo, bro.
You just gave me something I have to YouTube.
Yeah, Todd Bridges got hit at the convenience store. He felt his hat came off.
Oh, my God.
Yo, bro, that's George Jefferson, man. What's going on here? Anyway, let's get out of here, man. Oh, man.
See you on Thursday.
We'll be back on Thursday. Our Trav, he's biased. The Sports Back Bros podcast is coming to an end once again. So deuces.
Peace.